So let me ask you guys something. Who is the weakest shonen protagonist that could survive Attack on Titan?
I guess I would have to go with Full Metal Alchemist, Mr. Edward Elric.
Really? You think... I mean, I guess Ed could survive the Titans, but...
I mean, how would his powers necessarily like, help fight the Titans? Like, you gotta kind of destroy them in a certain way.
I mean, he can summon or spawn, like, he can turn the ground into giant fists and stuff, so I guess he can spear the Titans from the ground or trap them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah.
And then after that, like, even though it requires a certain metal, like, isn't that one of his, like, big powers? Like, he can use the metal and kind of just fling it or slice it. He doesn't even have to get close. He can probably just shoot that type of metal from a distance to take out the Titans.
I guess. I just feel like Ed he's kind of a glass cannon in that he doesn't really have a whole lot of strength or defensive capability, so as long as he can evade and escape from the Titans, he should hold his own, but if he gets pinned, he's dead.
Yeah, just give him the ODM gear. He can figure it out.
I guess.
Yeah, or when you think about it, like, most Shonen Jump, like, anime characters would just kind of obliterate, like, any of the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, Goku, the Titans are nothing to Goku.
Yeah, I mean, even something as simple as Bleach.
Yeah, I mean, Luffy can basically become a Titan with third gear.
Yeah.
Could Naruto survive the Attack on Titan universe? I think yes.
Oh yeah, especially like after like the war arc or something like that, he would just obliterate everything.
He could.
I would say up to about halfway through Shippuden, he couldn't. But I think once you get to around, say, the Pain arc, I think Naruto can hold his own against the Titans.
Yeah.
He can at least take a couple of the Colossus Titans down before he bites the dust.
Especially like his later on stuff with the Nine Tails or whatever, he could literally just wrestle with the Titans.
Oh yeah, like, by the time you get halfway through Shippuden, they are throwing some serious jutsu out. I just bring it up because my coworker was adamant that no, Naruto would not survive the Attack on Titan universe, and I'm like, are you sure about that?
I would argue that almost all the top shinobi could, simply because, like, their agilities and sword skills, they'd be easily able to, like, probably reach the nape and destroy it.
Of course, they can't get too close to some of the Titans just because of, like, heat, and also they're erratic, but if they're in, like, the trees or city, I can definitely see it.
I mean, like, Kakashi could with Kamui, like, you got Madara, he's gonna kick their ass, you got Tobi, he's gonna kick their ass, and Naruto can take all those people out by the end, so, like, why would he not be able to?
Exactly.
I will say, though, with Kakashi's Kamui, like, he can only hold so much in there, and I feel like the Colossus Titans are going to be way too big for him to really take in.
What about JoJo protagonists? Could any of the 8, or I guess now at this point, 9 JoJos, how would they fare?
Well, Jotaro Kujo probably could, especially by the end of his arc.
I don't know if Jotaro would be able to kill any Titans, but he would definitely be able to escape from them. Like, if they try to grab him or whatever, he could easily fend them off.
Yeah, but, like, because he gets the kind of same abilities as Dio at the end, so, I mean,
Right.
he could easily just do that, and plus Star Platinum's, like, strength, who knows, maybe that could obliterate the nape.
He can stop time if he has to. I'm just imagining the Colossal Titan trying to step on Jotaro, and it's like when Dio tried to crush him with the steamroller. He's just, like, giving him a foot massage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say too much about Jotaro or anything like that because, like, I haven't watched really too much of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Could Josuke heal the Titans? Could he reverse them?
Or, like, distort them in a way where they just could not do anything.
Anyway, Garrett.
Oh, I was just going to say about Dio, like, because I feel like having time powers is just kind of like a broken ability.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I don't know too much about the JoJo Bizarre Adventure universe. I only watched 10 episodes.
Oh, so you just finished part 1 then?
Probably, yeah, I think so. It was just like Vampire Mask, Dio.
Yeah, it gets better after that.
Okay.
See, I always hear people don't like part 1, and I like part 1. I know that it's definitely not as absurd or action-packed or as the later parts, but I like part 1 for what it is. I like the setting. I like how it's set in the late 1800s Victorian era. I like Jonathan as a protagonist. Yeah, I know he's a bit bland compared to the later JoJo's, but for what he is, I think he's good. I'm not going to say part 1 is the best part of JoJo. It's not by far, but I still think it's not as bad as everyone says it is.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's bad, but I'm just saying it's like, I do believe the rest of it is much better in comparison, but it is also a really important part because it sets up so much stuff that happens later on.
Yeah, it sets up the whole series and everything.
Yeah.
I always liked part 2. I thought part 2 could have gone on a bit longer.
Yeah, it definitely could have. Part 2 is an amazing part, and I've heard a lot of people who say that's one of their favorite parts, but personally, my favorite would have to be part 3.
Yeah, part 3, I just really like Jotaro. Yeah, I know, it's, because he's so badass and cool, but I'm like, yeah, and?
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, there's sometimes I watch anime just simply because they have badass cool people.
Yeah, but also, I just really like the whole globe-trotting adventure of 3. It is the adventure of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, it's literally the biggest adventure that I've seen so far in the anime.
Yeah, you can criticize 3 that most of the villains are not that interesting in 3. The stands are all pretty basic. And the supporting cast is memorable, but they don't really get a whole lot to do. Like, Avdol and Kakyoin, they don't really do much throughout part 3, so yeah.
Yeah, they're just kind of there. I mean, not to mention Abdul just kind of is gone for a while.
And then he's gone forever.
Yep.
And then there's Iggy, who to this day is still one of the stranger protagonists. Like, of all the JoJo groups and bands that have come and gone, the fact that one of them was a dog who, at least in one episode, could talk, that still is one of those things you look back on and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Iggy existed.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Iggy's like one of my favorite of the side characters. I don't know why. I like Iggy.
Oh, he's funny, don't get me wrong. It's just one of those weird things where you think back onto part 3 and you're like, oh yeah, Iggy, he was a character.
Speaking about Kakyoin, you remember that one stand user, the baby, and just how Kakyoin is at the end with him?
Oh.
Yeah, he's just like, here you go, I'm gonna mix this in your porridge, eat it up.
Oh god, he feeds it shit to it. Alright, Garrett, do you have anything to say?
Well, not really too much on JoJo. Like I said, I only watched the first part, but I will say that the Victorian era was alright. I mean, it was kind of weird what Dio was doing. He's just like, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna fuck your shit, bro. I'm gonna take your girl and I'm gonna take your house and take your father.
And that dog, fuck your dog.
Fuck your dog.
Dio is the living embodiment of, and I took that personally.
Yeah.
This dude cannot just chill out.
He's literally the embodiment of just an evil person. He's just evil.
Mm-hmm. To me, they try to, give him, a little bit of, feel sorry for him with, him living in a poor, drunken household and all that, and then he was given this life, but the thing is, he was given that life, and it's still a fuckwad.
One of the first things he does is kick Danny in the face.
Ugh.
Let me ask you guys something. How did y'all get into anime? How did y'all start this weeb journey?
Do you want to go first, Zaid?
Sure. So, for me, it started back, when I was probably 10, maybe 9 years old. I'm not sure. It's hard to think about my age way back then. It was a long time ago. But I would just go over to my grandfather's house, and there was an anime there that my dad used to watch, Evangelion. That was my introduction to anime.
Oh god.
And, man,
I ended up watching it. I really enjoyed it. Had no idea what was going on, but I had fun with it. And then after a while, I just kind of continued looking to anime and just continued from there.
Your dad is so cool.
What are all these colors? Why is she screaming? Who the fuck is this?
I don't think I should be watching this.
Yeah, that's not exactly the best introduction. I feel like that's an anime that would fuck up a kid.
Maybe it's why I am how I am now. Who knows? Maybe this explains something.
Iris from Goo Goo Dolls is playing in the background, just being like, it's my tragic backstory of being exposed to Evangelion.
And Zayd never drank orange juice again.
Oh gosh.
It's an extreme way to get into anime. But it worked.
What about you, Garrett?
So with me, my very first anime that I could tell you off the top of my head was Naruto. Naruto was my very first. I woke up one night at, I think, 4 a.m. and I turned on and I went to Cartoon Network thinking it was Cartoon Network. Well, it's Adult Swim. I didn't know that. So I then see Naruto for the first time, and it was like them battling Zabuza on the construction of the Great Naruto Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the very first arc. And that was the first episode I watched, and I'm like, holy shit, that's really awesome. Let's see if there's another one on.
I always felt like the Land of Waves arc in Naruto, it kind of had pseudo Bleach vibes to it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that a bit.
And guess what? Bleach was literally the next thing. It was literally the next thing on there, and I really got into anime after that. But I wasn't traumatized like Zayd was.
Yeah, I feel like you had a more typical introduction to anime.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's like most people probably would say like their introduction was like some of the OGs out there of like starter anime like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and stuff like that. But then I'm just like Evangelion.
Yeah. And from that point on, you just looked at every anime and called it shit because you could actually follow the plot.
What about you, Chase? You gotta tell us what got you into anime.
So, like Zayd just said, I was one of those kids. When I was young, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, and all that when I was a kid, but I didn't know they were anime, you know? They were just cartoons to me at the time. Yeah, they looked different and had a plot to them, and they were definitely a lot more action-y, but to me, they were just, interesting cartoons to watch. It wasn't until I got a bit older, I think when around the time Naruto started becoming popular, that's when me and my buddies, I was in middle school at the time, that's when we really started to explore this. Okay, this is called anime. All right. I was always a casual viewer of Naruto as a kid. I watched a few episodes here and there, but I wasn't a dedicated watcher. It wasn't until I got into high school, really, that I started really following along with Naruto. That said, I do associate Naruto with my middle school years, but what really got me into anime was when I was around 14, maybe 13, when I was just on Adult Swim one night, Toonami, and Cowboy Bebop came on, and I was just entranced by Cowboy Bebop. The music, the characters, the dialogue, the art style, the animation, it was just all so wow. I have never seen a series like this before. And from then on, going into high school, I guess I wouldn't call myself a weeb, but I was definitely into anime.
Were you the guy who was Naruto running?
No, I wouldn't. I knew a kid like that in middle school, actually. He was also the kid that had the Shadow Realm Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc, the black and red one.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Wonder where he is now. But yeah, from there, I guess I've just been a fan of anime. Although, I will say, I wouldn't call myself a casual anime fan. I feel like I'm a little too deep into it to be called just a casual, but I mostly just stick with the mainstream stuff, I guess. I don't really go out of my way. I only watch an anime if I know it's going to be good, like something I'll enjoy, because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of anime out there is not that great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. You kind of have to learn how to go through the weeds, but you kind of delve into the weeds. I feel like, okay, there is a point in time when you're watching anime that you watch anime for puberty reasons.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a stage. There's a stage. I don't know what to call it.
It's when you're like 14 and like you and then you literally only watch anime under like the ecchi tag.
Exactly.
Like I watched like so much of that, like Heaven's Lost Property, Kill la Kill, and so many other things like that. Just nothing but fan service.
This is firing neurons. Like that's what it was for me.
Okay, well, I mean, other than Kill la Kill, I never went that far. I guess for me, I was more into a lot of anime for the plot and the animation. Like, Western cartoons just couldn't deliver the same, like, really dense world-building plot or the high-stakes action that anime could.
Except for Avatar. Avatar was good.
Oh, yeah, Avatar, obviously. I mean, I'm one of those guys that wouldn't consider Avatar an anime, but you guys... I know, you guys have given me shit for this before.
No. I don't care. I don't want you. Yeah. Like, Avatar, I feel, is an anime just because, like, anime stands for animation.
Okay. Now you're gonna be one. I'm gonna be one of those guys. You're gonna be one of those guys.
Oh.
The way I see it, anime is anime if it's following a specific style or tropes.
Yeah.
And I would consider Castlevania, the Netflix Castlevania, I would consider that anime. Avatar, while it's like most of the way there, I feel like it's doing its own thing different. I feel like it's mostly following along the Western way of animation that I personally wouldn't consider it anime.
Literally
but-
has so much inspiration from Japanese animes. Literally has an entire world around Eastern cultures. No fuck.
Okay, how about this? If I were to break Avatar down, I would consider it 51% not anime, 49% anime. That's how I would break it down.
All right, like okay, I'll accept. I'll accept.
Now, what about Ruby?
Well,
Ruby.
that one is, I feel like in the community is fairly accepted because I mean it even shows up on like Crunchyroll for like the longest time.
Yeah. So Ruby is one of those things where it looks like anime and it is very desperately trying to be anime, but it doesn't feel like anime.
Yeah, but I mean another thing to realize too, it's made by Rooster Teeth, the same people who made Red vs. Blue.
Yeah, Monty Ohm. Oh boy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I will say, like, Ruby, I think the idea was really good and the world was really good. But as the seasons kind of went on, I want to say after season 3, this was kind of when Monty kind of passed away. Season 4 was okay.
I actually really like season 4 of Ruby.
I don't think I even finished season 4.
That was the one that had that, what was it called? The Knuckle Levy, or it was that Grimm that was based off of the Irish folk monster, the horse riding one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, I did like that part, like when they got to the village and we kind of got some backstory on Ren. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, we're doing some world building and we're going to have kind of like some traveling adventures and discover the world of Remnant.
Actually, I have no idea like how far I got now. Think about I know like the last plot thing to happen, but I don't know how far it was in. It's like where they're kind of wanted by like main like headmaster dudes.
That might have been season 5.
Is it a snowy place or is it kind of like a tropical place?
It's like a big city area. It's that military dude.
Oh, okay, Ironwood.
Yeah,
so
Ironwood.
I think that's like season 6 or 7 you might have been.
Oh, I got further than I remembered.
I don't know. Ruby is one of those series that I wanted to like it a lot. It had a lot of stuff I really enjoy and appreciate, but its execution, I would consider Ruby as one of those shows that was a great idea, great concept, a very mediocre execution.
Yeah.
I know that the show had like no budget for its first couple volumes, and I think that really, really dragged it down. I wanted to like Ruby, and I got a fair ways through it. To be fair, the first few volumes are not that long, but I don't know. It's a show that great potential, but it just didn't live up to it to me.
What was hard for me to get into it originally was just that like very shoddy animation that they had. It just felt it just did not feel that good to me. It was hard to watch.
It's kind of an elephant in the room that the animation and honestly even the voice acting for the first couple volumes are really not that good, and it's just really hard to get into Ruby because of just how uninspiring the first couple volumes are.
Now, I will say I do feel like the voice acting and animation did get a lot better as time went on.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that from a production standpoint, it gets significantly better with each passing volume, but man, those first couple are not great.
Now, I will say I do kind of disagree on some points you've made. I know it was like kind of shoddy art style and kind of crappy, but I personally enjoyed it because to me, it's like so low budget, but yet it's still so good, like for what it was given.
But I mean, to me, the animation style felt like those like really like crappy YouTube MMD videos where it's just like you have the anime character dancing, doing the Miku Miku dance or whatever. It's like it just felt so.
Well, I can say the choreography was definitely great. Like the fight choreographies was great.
Well,
the
yeah,
story
there's that.
like started off a little bit weird, and yes, sometimes it seemed like a mic cut out.
The music was top notch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, their music is amazing.
How about this? What would you guys say are your top 5 anime?
Fuck. Okay, so I don't know what order, but here are the top 5: Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga.
Good one.
I want to say Full Metal Alchemist: The Brotherhood remake, but it's not like my very top. Don't come at me, you fan base. Bungo Stray Dogs, I'm actually really liking. Bungo Stray Dogs is actually one of the recent animes I've been watching, and I want to say it's top 5 at least.
What's that one about? Like, what's the premise?
Think of it as in this world, it's kind of like I don't know if it's Japan, but it looks a lot like Japan. There's these factions in the city that want to kind of take control of the city. Well, we follow this one guy who can turn into a tiger kind of under the moon, but then he learns how to
tiger.
Yeah, he's a were-tiger. And he actually can start like turning into a tiger. You kind of see him progress in strength. But anyways, he was an orphan. He is founded by this detective agency, which are full of these people that are termed as gifted. Gifted have these special abilities, and really Bungo Stray Dogs, it's just, at first it's very lighthearted and it's not really big in terms of how serious it eventually gets. But I will tell you, season 2 episode 13 through 16 is probably my favorite arc in almost all of anime. It's just so well done. And it's the pacing, and it's the references to classic literature. It's so well thought out, I feel, and it's so... characters are lovable. Even though they're bad, you still love them so dearly. That's just what it is. That's the big premise, just 3 big factions that kind of fight over the city, and that's pretty much season 1's plot.
All right. Was that 4 or 5?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'll just say one more because I think I said 4. And finally, it has to be To Your Eternity, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 is great. Season 2's all right.
All right.
What about you, Zaid? What's your top 5 list?
Mine would have to be Bleach, Evangelion, Angels of Death, Elfen Lied. Well, no, lied. Fifth one's a harder choice to make because I have to like literally just choose from a bunch of them that I find kind of an equal footing. I guess because I've been really into it lately, Naruto.
Okay. So, Elfen Lied, that's quite a interesting show that you decided is in your top 5. Why is it in your top 5? To me, it like freaked me out as a kid when I watched it.
I've always been a big fan of like darker, like more like horror-esque type things. I've been watching horror movies since I was about 9, and so that kind of leads into that area because it is kind of that more horror, darker kind of area, and I loved watching it.
Okay. I will say, though, that dog scene was kind of messed up.
There's a lot of messed up scenes in it.
I know there is, but, like, the dog scene always fucking gets me. It's like, they hit you on the nose with the noise. Like, holy shit. What was that one anime you listed? It was, like, it wasn't Naruto.
Angels of Death?
Angels of Death. I've never heard of that anime.
Oh, okay. So, how do I explain this without, like, spoiling a bunch of crap?
Crap.
So, it's like this weird kind of, like, death type thing where you follow this main character or whatever who's kind of, like, going through these different floors and stuff, and each floor there's, like, some kind of enemy or whatever that's trying to kill them. So, we're just kind of following her, and then, she runs into, one character, I think his name was Zach. And he's just like this psychotic character carrying out a scythe, bandages, has a hoodie on, and he wants to kill her, but because she actually just wants to die, he decides he doesn't want to. It's no fun. So he ends up helping her out throughout this entire, like, thing and just, like, going through all these different areas. She wants him to be the one to kill her, but he won't kill her until she actually shows, like, happiness or has some kind of will to live.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of sociopathic of that guy. Like, holy
yeah, well, he is. That's exactly what he is. He's
shit.
Insane. But so are, like, some of the other characters in it are insane. But again, it follows that more darker kind of path of stuff that I really enjoy. I mean, the first 4 that I literally listed are fairly dark in their own, except for Bleach, but it does kind of go into more darker, edgier themes, I guess.
Okay. What about you, Chase? You need to tell us yours.
All right, well, I would have to say my top 5 in really no particular order. Cowboy Bebop. Again, that was my proper gateway into anime, and it's also a series that just had a really profound impact on me. It's one of those shows that I still think about a lot to this day. Second would have to be This one's purely for nostalgia bias, but Dragon Ball.
Ooh, okay. Like, I guess, like, it's not a big surprise.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it the greatest anime out there. We'll get into that later. I have a lot of narrative criticisms of Dragon Ball in hindsight looking back on it, but again, it's a series that I have a lot of nostalgia towards, so gotta give it props for that. Third, I mean, what can I say? Neon Genesis Evangelion. I mean, come on.
It's so good. I mean, though it could do without certain things.
Yeah, there's a couple stuff that, don't get me wrong, it's a show that I hesitate to recommend. I would only recommend it to the right people, you know what I mean?
To the more seasoned, like, anime fans.
It's a great series. The animation is great. I know that they ran out of budget at the end, but it's just so artistically experimental. The plot is really engaging. It's very philosophical. I love the imagery and the concepts it presents. I feel like I also watched it at a really great time. That was like the first anime I watched after I graduated high school and I just started college. So I think that's a really good time to watch a series like Evangelion.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I first watched it the first time, I could not appreciate for what it was. It was just like, ooh, fun stuff happening. I enjoy this. It wasn't until, like, maybe I was, like, 16 that I rewatched it. I started enjoying it a lot more for its actual plot and narrative.
Fourth favorite would have to be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
That's a solid pick.
Solid choice.
That's just a series that I think it's just meticulous, well put together package. It does pretty much everything you could ask for it to do, and it comes, it goes, it does its thing, and it sticks the landing. It just does everything right. And finally, my fifth favorite, honestly, it's a toss-up between One Piece and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So, JoJo, that's another series that I watched when I got into college. It's another series that I just have a lot of personal attachment to. Well, I wouldn't call it necessarily the greatest anime out there. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely in the upper echelon as far as I'm concerned. It just has a few questionable decisions and stuff in it that I think drag it down just a smidge. But overall, I just really love it. I love that it's an anthology series. I'm just a sucker for those. The animation is stellar. The writing is bizarre, absurd. It's wacky. The stands are so cool. I love the music references. That's always great. Yeah, it's just all around a really enjoyable, entertaining series that even has a handful of great emotional moments in it. One Piece is actually kind of interesting with me because it's a series that I only started watching relatively recently. I feel like One Piece, when you describe what it's about and a lot of its humor and stuff to me, I would not like it. Like, I feel like One Piece has a lot of stuff in it that I don't care for. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the humor in One Piece is very hit or miss for me. I don't really care for how a lot of female characters are written in One Piece. I have a lot of issues with that. But overall, One Piece is a series that I respect. I respect One Piece for the fact that it has gone on this long and has only just gotten better and better with each subsequent arc. Each arc just ups the stakes, ups the drama, ups the world building, the character development so significantly. And even early on, Enies Lobby, I'm gonna be honest, that's one of the best arcs I've ever seen in an anime. Just everything about it was just so gripping and intense and emotionally investing.
Yeah, and that's one of the big points about One Piece, too, that is the emotional investment. Because even though it is one of the longer animes, and to be honest, I don't particularly like watching super long animes, because One Piece tends to be one of them, but I will say that it's worth it. Like, even to somebody who's kind of on the fence about those long animes.
Yeah, it's definitely an investment, and it is a mountain to climb, but again, like I said, One Piece is a series that, while I have my personal gripes with it from a writing perspective, I will give props to Oda. He knows damn well what he's doing and what he is working on. He just knows how to tell a great story, and the fact that One Piece has stood the test of time for this long and is still ongoing and is this monumental, and he can still work at it like it's nothing. I just respect One Piece, I will have to say.
Yeah, I mean, that really does say something about an anime and its writer when it can go on for this long and have such a strong and, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck.
A fan base?
Yeah, well, fan base, but I had another word I was going to say about, like, just a strong and dedicated fan base. because a lot of anime, like, if they go on for a certain amount of time, end up dropping off.
It's just because like they eventually kind of, I guess, grow stale. But with the world of One Piece, it seems that Oda wants to really delve into anything in our world and kind of put it in his world with a twist.
Right. It's a very deep series as well. Like, it's very simple and cartoony on the surface, but the way One Piece presents various ideas and concepts is really interesting.
Yeah.
So, those are our top 5 lists. Gotta say, overall, pretty stellar list. I feel like it kind of tells a lot about the individual based on our picks.
Yeah, I mean, mine, obviously, as you can see, I tend to like more darker anime a lot of the times.
And then, Garrett is just a weeb.
And I don't want the world!
Now, one question I'd like to ask everyone, like, is there any, like, new anime either of you have gone into recently?
The most recent one I really enjoyed was Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, Chainsaw Man, for me, is definitely one of the animes that I have never really seen before. It's one of those animes that's so much different. I don't know, it gives me the chills. Like it's gripping my spine, you know, kind of like from Mortal Kombat, kind of like that type of stuff. I don't know.
Well, for starters, its animation is just beautiful.
Bro, it feels so unsettling, that animation. It's so way too fluid, but I like it. Like, I didn't realize how much I needed something different as this.
Earlier, we were asking about which protagonist would last the longest in Attack on Titan. I feel like Denji would be like, ODM gear? I am the ODM gear.
Dude literally cut an infinite, like, devil so much that he was like, yo, bro, just kill me.
Denji is just the Doomslayer of anime.
I mean, he could just, like, chop the Titans down to size until they're at his level if he wanted to.
Other recent anime I've gotten into, I really like Beastars.
Beastars is good.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, we're gonna start another controversy right here, but I think the Beastars dub is so much better than the sub. I am just gonna go out and say it.
I know, right? It's better.
The Beastars dub is excellent. There are no criticisms with the dub. Jonah Scott as Legoshi is inspired choice. Lara Jill Miller is also doing a great job as Haru. It's just great cast.
My favorite Beastar character.
I enjoyed the second season, especially that ending, dude. I will say the dub, when you showed me it, you came over to my apartment and we sat down and watched it. I am a very sub guy, but there are animes I do enjoy watching dub, and this one I can see the appeal, but since I started it sub, I kind of stuck with it. But I can say that there are some scenes that are stellar in the dub version.
Well, I was gonna say is like the animation style to it is also just really nice. It looks so good.
It's funny, I know a lot of people criticize CGI in anime. Like, I know Attack on Titan got a lot of flack for using it, but then you look at stuff like Beastars, and it's like, if every CGI anime could be on this level, it would be a perfect world.
Yeah. It would look amazing because it's so fluid and just the movements feel natural.
Yeah, but just to go back to the dub versus sub age-old debate, I am a filthy dub watcher. If I can, I will always watch an anime in dub. I know.
I am too.
I just feel like people over-hate dubs for legacy reasons, you know? I know dubs have a history of being very mediocre, and if you go back far enough, outright terrible, but this isn't the 90s anymore. So many talented voice actors are dubbing anime. Everything is so much more professional and well-translated, and there's just a lot more enjoyment and enthusiasm. Like, take the Beastars dub, for example. The voice actors for that are just doing a great job, and I just think people who hate on dubs for no reason, you're just being crybabies, all right? I'm just gonna come and say it. Like, okay, you might dislike a certain specific actor personally because maybe I just think you can respect dub watchers. If someone says, oh, I watch anime dubbed, that's fine, you know? That is a great alternative. It's fine. Don't give them any flack for it.
Yeah,
dub hater versus Chad. Dub is good for you if you
versus the Chad, I watch everything in French.
Portuguese.
That is one gripe I have about anime communities too. Like, okay,
all the gatekeepers and elitists.
Yeah, not to mention some of the fan fiction that goes on.
Oh no.
So I kind of want to rip this band-aid off and talk about some controversial stuff about some anime communities. For example, My Hero Academia.
I think I know where you're going.
God.
Yeah, so guys, they're literally high school kids, and y'all are like having them get with like their teachers and stuff like that, or you're having them like literally just like
Especially when All Might and Mount Lady are right there. Come on.
right, exactly. Like literally Mount Lady is the best.
And I'm just gonna say my part on this. Feel free to cut it out if you want to. But to all the people who do that and like make the fan fiction of kids like being intimate with each other like that, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't care that it's an animation. I don't care. It's still like they're still children and you're portraying them in this way.
If you are writing that type of fanfic and you are over the age of 18, because if you're actually in high school doing that, that's fine. Like, just be aware that it's still weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a kid, then it's different. But, like, an adult doing that, like, what is wrong with you?
Honestly, that's one of my biggest issues with a lot of shonen anime, especially, is why are they high schoolers? Like, you can apply that to so many anime series.
Yeah.
When I was, okay, for example, here's a healthy example of what it is. So the first crush I had was Sakura when I was a kid. Well, when you get older, you kind of start to like the older versions of Sakura, and then now you like adult Sakura. There you go. That's it.
There are no Sakura fans. They don't exist.
Ah, that hurts. The fucking hurt.
I mean, there are still people who consider Asuka and Rei to be their waifus, and I'm like, they're 14, bruh.
I mean, sure, like, when I was, like, 13, I really liked Asuka, and then, like, Attack on Titan came around, and then for a while it was Mikasa, but now it's like, no, they're kids. Until like, the very end, I guess they're adults. I haven't finished the anime.
After the time gap, they are adults at the end, but in the beginning, they're like 16 or something, which, okay, that one I actually kind of get, because I feel like one of the whole point of Attack on Titan, the fact that they're so young, is meant to be the point. It's showing audiences, isn't it fucked up that these teenagers, these kids, are being sent off to die in a war? Like, I feel like that was the point. And I don't know if this is just me interpreting this, but I feel like part of the reason why Gabby and all the other Marleyan kids that you encounter later in the series are so young is because I feel like the author realized people weren't getting that, so that's why he made them so young to really like drive it home into audiences. Like, no, it's fucked up that we are sending kids into war.
Yeah.
That might just be me. I don't know if he's ever clarified if that was the reason or not, but I feel like that might be the reason.
It's definitely a story about war. I don't know, because like we always heard that war's bad and stuff like that, but I'm glad that an anime is kind of using anime type logic to sort of explain like how war can be.
I just feel like it was lost on a lot of people just because that's just very typical in a lot of anime. Like, take Jotaro, for example, going back to JoJo. He's supposed to be 17 in Stardust Crusaders, and yet he could pass for 30.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he does smoke a lot, so...
Yeah, dude's just a Chad.
And I know you people who like those lollies for 3,000 years. I know you. I'm watching you.
Oh, actually, she's not a child. She's actually 3,000 years old. And I'm like, dude, if she looks and acts like a child, then she's a child, bruh.
Exactly.
So here's another gripe I have too. I mean, I get it, like y'all like sexual stuff in anime.
Yeah, the fan service is just so... I don't care for it a lot.
Like when I was 14, I was like, hey, there we go.
Yeah, like I said, like when I was like 14 or whatever, just watching a lot of ecchi anime, where now I just prefer things that I need a good plot to be able to just finish like an anime. It's like,
I feel like as you get older, you look at all the fan service and sexy stuff and you just roll your eyes like, is this really necessary? What's this doing here? I don't know. I'm just like, is this, if it's not advancing the plot or if it's just there just for the fan service of it, I'm just over it.
What's that art that's called where it's got all these anime girls on there making these weird faces and stuff like that? Like they got like jackets and hoodies and people wear that stuff around. I didn't even know that was the name for it. I just know, like, to me, that's just kind of creepy to kind of just carry around.
it's more of kind of just meant for the memes, though, in the end.
Yeah, but still, if you're walking around a place where, like, young kids can see it, like, okay, I'm not gonna be a prude, you know. If you enjoy hentai, then whatever. What you get up to in your personal time is your thing, but...
Even, like, selling merchandise kind of like that, especially, like, at Comic-Con. I went to a Comic-Con and they were selling kind of like that stuff, and to me it kind of made me uneasy because I saw so many kids like going in there.
I feel like a lot of conventions tend to be a little strict on that of when you can and can't sell that. Like some will say you can only sell that after certain times, or if you're going to sell it, cover it up or whatever. But I think it varies from con to con.
Yeah. They at least always, was what I've seen, and covered up any bits of nudity with like sticky notes and stuff like that, trying to like hide it.
Well, let's talk about the therapeutics of anime. So, anime, I feel, can really culture someone's storytelling.
It can.
In terms of that media, I will say that anime can be very inspiring. I know anime has actually inspired me to do some things that I never really thought of before, just because, I'm sitting on my butt, like watching anime.
Yeah, it definitely does drive that sense of go out and live your life kind of feeling.
Go and touch grass.
Exactly.
Anime is kind of like one of the things that inspired me to like do writing in general. Like I enjoy just trying to write. Like as I've told you before, Chase, I'm trying to work on a book, and that's most of like my ideas and stuff like that. And just my whole idea of trying to write a narrative was inspired by so much anime that I've watched.
It can definitely get the imagination juices flowing.
Oh yeah.
That said, I'm gonna be one of that guy and say most anime plots tend to not be that deep. Not to say that there aren't any, it's just you compare it to like a lot of shows like, I mean, maybe I'm biased because I enjoy dramas like The Wire, Game of Thrones, and I know comparing a action show that's meant for 12-year-olds isn't obviously going to stack up against it, but I just feel like a lot of anime just doesn't really go that deep. There's a few out there, don't get me wrong, and I think that they present the ideas. They definitely have the concepts down. I just don't think they explore them with as much nuance or depth as I would prefer, or that I've seen other very tightly written dramas do before. And I know not every show is going to be The Wire or Breaking Bad. Like, that's 1 in a million right there. But it just colors my perception of it, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
You really need to watch Bungo Stray Dogs. Like, I think you would love that. You'll kind of like, it'll be kind of lighthearted the first season, but once you get past that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Just because an anime doesn't reach those emotional or philosophical depths doesn't make it bad. I can still enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, I do tend to like things that are a lot more, like, in-depth with a narrative, but then, like, recently watching, Misfit of the Demon King's Academy, which I just finished, like, the 2 seasons they have out, it's not super deep. I mean, the deepest they go is kind of show, like, a whole system where it's, like, you have the demon elites, the royalty, and then anyone who's, like, a half-blood or something like that is spit upon, and you show them the schools, they have different uniforms, it's, like, this whole thing. But they don't go super deep into that. It's very on the surface with it. But I enjoy it for just, it's a fun anime to sit down and relax and enjoy.
Yeah, that's how I approach a lot of anime. I watch them for the fun and the cool factor, and if they happen to have some emotional pathos and depth to it, that's just a nice little cherry on top. That's the dessert to the meal, I guess.
They are enjoyable.
When I watch a lot of anime, I'm looking at it purely from an entertainment standpoint.
I will say that I do enjoy the dumb fun anime.
Yeah, I mean, one of my personal favorites is Panty and Stocking. That is the definition of what the hell is going on.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, though, there are animes that fucking make me cry.
Oh, I've definitely cried at anime before. One Piece made me cry over a boat.
Okay, now I just want to ask a question. What is the saddest anime either of you have watched? Movies count, just as long as it's anime.
I mean, take your pick of Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, mine, to be honest, one of the saddest ones that makes me cry every single time is A Silent Voice.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
It is so well written, and just, I'm not going to say too much, but there's that one scene on the bridge, and anyone who's seen it knows it. It gets me every time, or when they break down, like, after that scene later, like, before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would be easier to tell you what Studio Ghibli movies haven't made me cry. Even just for series or movies, Your Name, that was another good one.
Yeah.
For series, there's been moments, like I said, One Piece, Over a Boat, If You Know, You Know. Dragon Ball had a couple moments. In the Buu saga, when Goku
Vegeta.
comes... No, that's a close one. That is a close second, but I was going to say when Goku comes back and he meets Goten for the first time.
Okay.
That is definitely, because, like, I don't know, it felt kind of real compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's like a dad coming home and seeing his son for the first time, and his son meeting his father for the first time. That just got to me. There's been other moments, of course. Jiraiya.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was hard. Yeah. But like one of the most saddest anime moments I can remember, because this even got me when I was a kid, was that one episode of Pokemon where they meet all the other Pikachus, and Ash thinks Pikachu would be happier with them and tries to send him off. That made me cry so much.
Yeah, I will say that about anime is this is actually something I miss from like the olden days, quote unquote, when anime, the big three, they could just go on for hundreds of episodes. I feel like that was part of the enjoyment, was watching a series for that long, you know? It's like you get attached to the setting, to these characters, to the arcs, to the plot when you've been watching them for so long. And I feel like that's a feeling that other, I guess, mediums can't really replicate, is you've been watching Goku fight Frieza for like 30 episodes. So when he finally goes Super Saiyan, and at the end, when the fight's over, you feel that catharsis. You've been waiting, I don't know how long, for this moment. When a character that you've seen in 200 episodes dies, it's like, wow, I don't know how this show can go on without them. It really does play with your heartstrings just because of how long it goes on for. And a lot of anime, don't get me wrong, a modern anime is a lot tighter paced. I prefer that. I prefer the lack of filler. I prefer how it's just get down to the nitty gritty. But I'll always miss, watching how many hours of Naruto, how many hours of One Piece and Dragon Ball. They just don't make them like they used to.
Or also it'll be like, you'll be mid-fight and then you'll have like an entire arc of filler.
There are some that are actually good, though. There are some that are actually good.
The Dressrosa arc of One Piece, where we got a flashback arc in a flashback arc.
That was quite a ladder to climb. I will say that if you're looking to cry to your eternity, episode 3 or 4, whenever that person goes bye-bye, oh, I cry every time.
There's another one too. I think it was called Bubble, which is an anime movie on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
And it's like I'm gonna be honest, I kind of have to compare it to a bit of like The Little Mermaid, a bit, just kind of like how the story is done, but it's done so well.
Yeah, I will say that Bubble definitely has a great premise, and I really enjoyed like the plot that I had. I actually watched it with my girlfriend, and it was like, I don't know, it was something that wasn't really Studio Ghibli, it wasn't really silent voice, but it was a nice kind of mixture, because it still had that mystery and kind of myth that Ghibli has, but it brought in the style of silent voice.
Yeah, but I mean, like, both those movies too, like, they're such beautiful animations. Mm-hmm. Different, but very beautiful.
What's been one of the best looking anime you guys have seen?
Besides Chainsaw Man, because we already mentioned it.
I guess Demon Slayer is another recent pick, but
I would have to say of recently would have to be the 1,000 Year Blood War arc of Bleach, and that animation is amazing. But it's kind of hard to not just choose an anime movie, because anime movies just tend to look so much better. So I'm trying not to choose one of those, because I just feel like that's an unfair comparison.
Well, they tend to have a lot higher budget.
Oh yeah.
This is just, again, another personal bias of mine, but I really do miss the 90s era of anime, that gritty, dark, shaded look, like Cowboy Bebop or Evangelion, or like old Berserk, or that kind of stuff. I just miss that era, that look of anime.
Oh yeah, it looks really good.
I just feel like modern anime looks too clean these days. Maybe I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud, hey, back in my day.
I think you are.
You're falling for the nostalgia trap.
I know, but you know what? Fuck it, I am.
No, and I mean, I get that. I love like a lot of older animation, and but I still am gonna be stuck with the bias, because like I still recognize like modern animation, how good that's gotten, and how clean it looks.
Mm-hmm. Back in my day, we only got one new frame per episode, and we liked it that way.
Now, there's one anime that I actually really enjoyed its style, and that's Mob Psycho 100.
Oh yeah,
like it to me switched from like kind of comic panel to being butt ugly to like being this, oh my god, what the fuck is happening, this is amazing.
Yeah, and you'd also just have these moments where it's like you have your standard animation through it, and then you'll get this like kind of like freeze image moment, and it's just like they put so much effort into that one frame, and it just looks so good, but then it just goes back to its regular animation quality.
Yeah, I mean, on a related note, One Punch Man did that a lot, where Saitama would just go to being this like super serious serious shonen protag to this dinky little webcomic drawing. Okay.
Yeah.
Even make him creepy, like when he found that groundhog guy or whatever. Found you.
I love that groundhog one. You just see his face in the dirt and he's like, hey, how's it going?
Studio Bones and Trigger are probably one of my favorite anime studios.
Ooh, that reminds me. Since we are a gaming podcast, let's talk about some anime adaptations, because I know there's one you guys are fans of. Cyberpunk, Edgerunners.
I love it so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
The animation is so well done, and I'm gonna actually have to change my answer from Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc to that, because it is such a well animated series with such a good story to it.
Learn more about David Martinez.
He's amazing.
Oh, love him.
I wouldn't necessarily put it in my top 5 or even top 10 just because I really think Cyberpunk should have gone on a few more episodes. I feel like the pacing was way too fast for my liking. I feel like they tried to condense a lot into just a handful of episodes.
Yeah, and that's what kind of stops me from putting it up there, because I honestly feel like it should have been like a 2-season series.
Yeah, I think if Cyberpunk Edgerunners had gone on maybe, like you said, one extra season more, it would have been in my top 10, no question. But I think it's good for what it is, but it is very fast-paced, and I think that does hurt it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't mind fast-paced things, but it does go way too fast. I mean, the beginning area, I feel like, is kind of okay, but then it's, once he kind of gets in with the group and everything like that, and he gets the fists or whatever, it just really speeds up at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm following it. Where are we now?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wait, what just happened? I looked away for a second. He's dead already? What?
I don't know if it was an artistic choice. I might be reading it in too much. So, you know how David was like less modded. He only had mods that he needed to kind of like go to school and stuff. And that's when we could kind of follow along. And that's why it was such good pacing. But as he got more and more mods, that's when everything kind of started going sporadic. Kind of like we were going into cyber psychosis a little bit. Like, that's probably like how David is. It's kind of like a time jumps.
Well, part of it too is like the fact that like with the cyber psychosis is mostly the same Devastan he has, because like he has a high resistance to cyberware and cyber psychosis, so he's able to deal with it. But the Sand Devastan is like such a taxing like device to use, and I don't think he had any cyberware, to be honest, because when he first, I think the Sand Devastan was his first piece, because he goes in and it's like, I'm ready to get chromed up, like it's his first thing.
Right. It was like his only real mod. But then toward the later episodes, like the last 3 episodes, when everything is kind of going quicker, he's way more modded. You can tell. That's why I kind of like had that theory. Like maybe that's what they were trying to go for. I don't know. I might be just giving it an excuse for the pacing.
It doesn't stop it from just being kind of jarring, and I feel like I'm just missing so much that I'd have preferred to have.
Mm-hmm. There is one anime that has come out that's kind of like a nice lighthearted one, and I think we should mention it. It's Spy X Family. So, have you ever watched it?
I don't even know about it.
Oh, okay. So, Spy X Family is actually one of those animes where about this spy who goes undercover into the Western country, and he has to put together a family to kind of keep his identity. And so he takes a child who has psychic powers. No one really knows she has psychic powers. She kind of keeps it a secret. Then he finds a woman to kind of be his pretend wife, but she is like an assassin that's like very dangerous and very popular amongst people who want someone killed. That's the family, and they actually learn so many cute things about what it means to be a family.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's a very cute, wholesome series. I've only seen a handful of episodes, but I really like it. It's a show that I've been meaning to get back into. Also, she loves peanuts. It's so cute.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you guys are into sports animes, but what about Haikyuu?
I've seen it, but it was alright. Yep, that's a sports anime.
Oh! Alright, I won't say too much about it, but I do recommend it if you are into sports and you kind of want to start your first anime. It's lighthearted, but it definitely has the passion there, and the animation is great.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh a sports anime?
I set my card face
It
down.
almost kind of like trends into the area of like, I guess, esports maybe, because it is kind of video game-esque with the holograms.
I am about to send you into the recycle bin. Then I shall right-click the recycle bin, and I shall select empty recycle bin. Otherwise, you will just be taking up space.
And that'll drain all your life points to 0.
Those card game or like spinning top or even Pokemon anime, let's talk about those. Those are definitely like, even though they're more targeted at children.
Those were really big in the 2000s and late 90s, but I feel like you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they were basically glorified toy commercials when you get down to it. Like Pokemon, that whole anime was meant to push so much merchandise and the games as well. But
I enjoyed Pokemon. I really loved Darkrai was cool, but I think it was Sceptile. That Pokemon was like my favorite Pokemon.
I watched it regularly up until like they finished the black and white section of the anime, and then I was just kind of done.
I watched the Pokemon anime as a kid, but I was more into the games. Like, the anime was cool and all, but the games was where it was at for me. Apparently, Ash is now the champion. He's retired.
At 10 years old.
Speaking of like though with Yu-Gi-Oh though, do any of you know like it's how it really started like in like the more manga form?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a lot darker and had nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh.
I remember reading a bit of the manga because I know a lot of people were like, dude, have you actually read the Yu-Gi-Oh manga? Shit's fucked. And I'm like, it's kind of like a slightly more family-friendly Death Note.
Yeah, it's also kind of just like a messed up like gambling thing. And then there's also like the first like I think like 3 episodes that they came out with that never got like a proper release, I think, and like a lot of hardcore fans will recognize that as like season 0.
Ooh, the Forbidden Season.
Yeah.
Man, a bridge anime. Just a quick little side tangent here, but that was like one of my early YouTube experiences was Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Fun times.
Oh, Team 4-Star.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of respect for Team 4-Star as creators. Still a big fan of their work and everything. Just DBZ Abridged, Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. I just really like their work.
And they got stuff like, again, SAO Bridge, which is just actually good compared to SAO.
I will say the first season of SAO was like nice for like an escapist anime, but after that,
I enjoyed it when I was 12. Ooh, cool stuff happening. Fighting. Yay.
video games.
Did we talk about the Castlevania anime?
No, we haven't, but we need to.
All right. Just to slightly steer us back to the video game adaptation one, because there's another elephant in the room that we have to address about video game animes. Castlevania.
Oh my gosh, what a treat it was. Okay, so before we kind of get into Castlevania, we'll probably talk about some spoilers, because to be honest, I really want to go into depth about this one.
Out of curiosity, have you guys seen the trailer for Nocturne that's coming up?
Yes!
No, not yet.
I can't wait.
I'm really curious to see how they handle that one.
We need to get together and watch like the first Castlevania, and then we'll watch Nocturne, like kind of like comes out, like a 2-day thing. Dude, that'd be cool.
The Castlevania series, there's something about the way the characters speak and the voice acting. It's very almost like ASMR-like in that they kind of like just whisper to each other all the time, but it's like still, very clearly audible what they're... I don't know. It's just a very interesting way of delivery for the voice actors.
It's like, hey, you see that vampire over there? I'm gonna go kill him. He's gonna die now.
Trevor Belmont, is that you?
Now, it definitely does a good job of keeping secrets from the viewer until the characters kind of figure it out, because you know how a series can kind of give it away to the viewer because of where they decide to shoot scenes and kind of what they say in dialogue. There's this one point, the warden. Do you guys know what the warden did?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of screwed up. But I will say, in terms of scenes, my favorite scene was Isaac and the captain of the ship.
Honestly, any interaction Isaac has with a lot of characters is just really great. I mean, the captain, there's the guy who sells him the mirror, even though it's brief, that's great. Then there's like the fly demon he talks to. That's just a nice conversation. Isaac is just a great character.
Mm-hmm.
All of the characters in Castlevania, I could watch a monologue, a BoJack Horseman free churro monologue of almost every Castlevania character.
And really, Isaac is my favorite character personally. Just his journey is something to behold. Going from kind of thinking of himself as a tool to something of a leader, kind of like for those who are damned.
I want to live.
Yeah. Like, literally, that has so much weight.
Yeah, and of course there's everything going on with Alucard, Sypha, Trevor, that whole trio. Dracula himself, of course.
Dude, it's so tragic. And I really love how it ties. Like, these characters have different goals, of course, but it all ties together so well. And boy, the big bad at the end, like, I loved him so much. He was definitely the star of the show.
The Castlevania series was just excellent, and it's funny. I'm seeing a lot of people point to The Last of Us, the HBO series, as have video game adaptations finally broken the curse? Are they good now?
Yeah.
And I'm just over here looking at all the animated series we've been getting, like Castlevania, and I'm like, bruh.
It's been like that. What you talking about? You're like 6 months late.
My only criticism, my only issue with Castlevania is in season 4. I feel like the whole Carmella storyline was a little weak. I felt like that ended on a bit of a whimper. Don't get me wrong, it's a spectacular fight between Isaac and Carmella. It's just, I don't know, the way the whole plot line just abruptly ends, I'm like, yeah, that could have been handled better. I know there were some behind-the-scenes issues going on, but yeah.
I think it was good. It was well executed. It was definitely a little underwhelming, but what can you really want in terms of that plot line? The big finale was that confrontation with Isaac and Carmilla.
Right. I don't have an issue with how the plotline played out. I just think it was very abrupt and it just felt very quick.
It's at moments like this I wish my memory was better because I don't have enough memory of it to actually put any input.
You need to download some more RAM.
I don't know how much. I know I've explained this to you, Chase, but like I have just bad memory.
Memories.
So like I'm constantly having to rewatch stuff to like keep it in my head.
I forgot.
Literally me.
So guys, I have a question for you. We have mentioned this studio a couple of times, but which Studio Ghibli film is your favorite and why?
Nausicaa Valley of the Wind.
That's a good one.
I can't really say art
Original.
style too much because Studio Ghibli has like just art style amongst all of them that are fairly similar, but it does have a very lovely art style, and plus I love the kind of like post-apocalyptic feel of it with the spores. It was a spore thing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I loved all that with the giant like insects and everything. The story was amazing. I loved that movie. It was also my intro movie to Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, also, I think Patrick Stewart is in the dub, I think.
Oh.
That's him.
Okay.
Can I give a top 3? Because it's so hard to choose.
Sure, you can give a top 3, but choose one of those top 3 to explain why.
Alright, so my top 3 would have to be Spirited Away, because it's Spirited Away.
Good.
Castle in the Sky, and Kiki's Delivery Service.
Solid choices.
Kiki's Delivery Service is, to me, the quintessential Studio Ghibli movie. I know My Neighbor Totoro is their mascot, but I think Kiki, this is Studio Ghibli. Princess Mononoke is a very close 4th favorite, I would have to say. But Kiki just nails that slice of life, whimsical, romanticized, childlike wonder, this outlook of the world. It's that, I feel like it really captures that transition age from childhood into teenagehood, where you're getting older, you're looking at the world in a different way, you're coming to grips with who you are as a person, you're discovering yourself, and I think Kiki just nails that. Even in my 20s, I can still relate to that sense of longing, that sense of bewilderment at everything, the fascination with life. When I think of Studio Ghibli, I think of Kiki.
Yeah, and I do agree that, well, actually, some logos actually have Kiki as kind of like the front page instead of My Neighbor Totoro, so really, Kiki is like, definitely, I want to say, close to being Totoro. You know, it's her bow, having that all black dress with kind of like she's like a normal looking girl, and really that pink bow really stands out, makes her stand out from the crowd. Like, you know that that's Kiki, and really her personality is just warm. Like, a lot of the times when I think witch, I think of, like, cold or kind of, like, either seductive or something like that.
I
Kinda like
think
more-
of the Owl House. Hooty hoot hoot. I don't think it should come as a surprise that my favorite slice of life anime is, okay, I know I'm going to get flack for this one because this is another one of, is that anime? But the 1990s Moomin series is to me my favorite slice of life anime.
Snufkin!
It was animated in Japan. I think it counts.
I feel like that would count.
It does count, but really the animated in Japan, like, that didn't need to be there because it's animated.
It hits a lot of the same notes as Kiki in my book.
Yeah, either of you watch the movie Ponyo?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that movie so much. Like, it was actually one of my exes that introduced me to it. Him and I just ended up watching it one day, and it was such a good movie.
I wouldn't put it in one of my favorite of Studio Ghibli, but it is a very charming, very endearing film.
Yeah, it's a nice, kind of just lighthearted, just fun to watch, adorable movie.
You give it to a kid to kind of get him into anime.
Mm-hmm.
Dude literally fucked an ocean.
Yeah, no kidding. Bro had that ocean-wide riz going on.
Dude just stood on a rock at the beach, staring longing into the sea, and said, I'm gonna put my dick into that.
And so he did.
What about you, Garrett? Give us your top 3 rundown and your personal favorite.
Okay. So, Howl's Moving Castle, because that was the first Studio Ghibli I've ever watched. It's not my first favorite. That's actually my third favorite. Second favorite, it actually have to be Spirited Away. Like, I understand it's really good, but it's kind of just, I don't know, not for me. Maybe I have to watch it a couple more times to kind of get it.
Yeah, I feel like that's one that grows on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I can't wait for it to kind of grow on me that I can kind of understand, but if not, that's okay. Then finally, Princess Mononoke.
That's probably my second.
Yeah, like I said, that's like a close 4th favorite for me. It's very close.
Princess Mononoke is definitely one of those anime that I feel explores the mythology a lot, and I'm a big mythology nerd. Anything about it, it makes me want to learn more about it because I feel like it tells you about the culture throughout the histories and the rewrites and all that. And really, the deer god is something else. He's so creepy, but so amazing to look at. And
So serene and majestic.
the animation is so beautiful, and like it can be so beautiful, but then it can be so horrifying.
We haven't even talked about the score to a lot of Studio Ghibli movies. The music is in a lot of them.
Their music is so good.
When the wind blows or something like that has such a great score.
Yeah, Wind Rises, I think.
Wind Rises, yes. Okay, I haven't seen it, but I've listened to the score, and that's my favorite score.
Makes me wish, if we do get an animated Zelda movie, I know it's a long shot, but just if Studio Ghibli can handle that would just be wow.
That would be perfect.
While we're on the subject of Studio Ghibli, there's also Grave of the Fireflies, which is a movie
Oh!
I think it is a great movie, but to say I enjoyed it is not the word I would use.
Did you cry?
Perhaps. Shut up.
I feel like any Studio Ghibli film could pretty much make you cry. They do so well with it.
Tales from the Earthsea, that did not make me cry.
What about that one? Like, something about cat? Like, there was like a cat butler?
Oh, the Cat Returns?
Yeah.
I think Tim Curry's the king cat in that one.
Yeah.
It just seems like Studio Ghibli had a lot more fun with it, especially back in the day. Why do we think that animation has so much passion back then? Like, I mean, there's plenty of passion nowadays in these studios.
I guess for Studio Ghibli, it's because Miyazaki, he runs a tight ship. I mean, if his own son fails to live up to his expectations, then again, have you seen the movies Miyazaki's son has put out? They're not exactly the best.
I don't know if that has to do with what the son's trying to like kind of step away from his father's shadow and create something entirely new.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, imagine having Miyazaki as your father.
Right. So much like crippling expectations that are put upon your shoulders.
Your movie only won 4 Oscars? Pathetic. Alright, here's a question for you guys. What would be your top 5 anime openings?
Ooh, okay. I got some that I can list off that are at least within top 10. I don't know if they'll be top 5. Erased opening.
That one's good. Yeah.
I want to say Naruto Shippuden's like we are fighting freedom.
No, that was the...
Oh, shoot. Did I say Shippuden?
Yeah, that was original Naruto, not Shippuden.
Whoops. But yeah, original Naruto. It was like the third or fourth opening. Oh, I loved the second opening to the Ranking of Kings.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy, that hit me hard. The fourth, I believe it's the fourth opening to Attack on Titan, just because, like, the musical soundtrack with what it was given.
Which one was that one? That wasn't My War, was it?
I think it was. I don't know. It was the one with the violin and the hawks are falling down from the sky and they got colors.
Son of a bitch, snipe me. I was gonna pick that one, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. But you can still have it if you want. And then
no, I don't want to anymore.
What's another one I liked? I think it was opening 2 on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Solid choice.
And then I don't know, did Chainsaw Man have opening? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Like it was good, but it wasn't like one of my favorite openings. It was definitely great in terms of artistic, but I guess
It's catchy.
Yeah, it is catchy.
Alright, so this is just off the top of my head what's coming to mind, but Naruto Shippuden opening 6, Sign. That's the opening with Jiraiya versus Pain. Then there's the Evangelion opening. I mean, again,
Oh,
come on,
yes!
it's Evangelion. It's
God damn
Cruel
it.
Angel Thesis.
You were
Yeah.
stealing one of mine.
Wait, I was stolen from.
It's iconic.
Let's see here.
What about Cowboy Bebop?
That one's up there. I like that one. That one's good, but I wouldn't necessarily put it in my top 5. Oh, there's the Promised Neverland OP, the first one. Bit of a shame of what happened in season 2, but...
They did a Tokyo Ghoul. Oh, Tokyo Ghoul! Fuck!
Yeah.
Damn it! Oh.
I guess the first Attack on Titan one, come on, having the sex with the bees and the eagles, it's... yeah.
Having sex with the bees and the eagles.
And then I'll just throw it out there, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Bloody Stream, the part 2 opening.
Okay. So if I have to go with mine, I'm not gonna have a full list because so many of mine were taken. But so the first one would have to be the intro for Goblin Slayer. I love that intro a lot.
No comment.
I mean, I also just really like the song too. So, I really enjoyed the song for the opening of Guilty Crown Season 1. And again, I'm having to go with choices that I just got ready to come up with. So I'm sorry that they're not the best choices.
Those are decent.
The Angels of Death opening is really good too. I love that one. And then, I mean, like, any of the Bleach openings for me, those are all pretty good too.
Bleach opening 1 definitely has all that nostalgia to like 90s.
Yeah, like, that one I would have to put at the top of the Bleach ones just simply for, like, what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we can go on all day. There are so many more we could list. Like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood opening Rain, the Season 5 opening, that one just gets me in the feels every time.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't need to get...
And then, of course, there's the One Punch Man theme song. Have you guys heard the Jonathan Young cover of that one? That is just, man, shit goes hard.
No, I haven't, but I guess I'm gonna have to watch it.
How about this? We'll conclude with one last final question. Who is your waifu and husbando?
Fuck. Waifu is Yor from Spy X Family. Even though, like, her cooking skills could need some work, because, like, I just don't want to die from her cooking. Like, that's all I ask. Just give me some McDonald's or something. I'll be fine. And then husbando, I want to say Kakashi.
You know that you and him could just get lost on the path of life.
Mm-hmm. He has a big personality behind that mask.
Alright, for me, it would have to be, since I'm not gonna choose the same thing as you for husbando. I'm just gonna go with Sebastian Michaelis from, the fuck was the anime called? Anyway, that one. And then, Yoruichi from Bleach for my waifu.
Yoruichi, she's the dame.
Yeah.
Come on, Jace, tell us. Is it Nami? Is it Nami?
No.
Oh.
So, my husbando would have to be, honestly, All Might.
Oh.
I think he's just a really stand-up guy, you know? He's a good dude. He's always going to take care of you. He's confident. He's charismatic.
Yeah.
He's really ripped, and ooh, those muscles just wrap me in your arms now. Anyway,
Okay.
as for waifu, it's kind of hard to narrow it down. Okay, this is going to be a weird choice, I know, but hear me out. Haru from Beastars.
Like, hold the front door. So, here's the thing. Haru is in high school, bro.
She's 18. I like how that's what you take issue with and not the fact that she's a rabbit.
She's a rabbit.
You know, like, what I like about anthropomorphic characters in animation is kind of like you can kind of figure out their personality with it. And really, Haru makes sense because bunnies do fuck a lot.
Actually, wait, no. Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist.
No, right?
Okay, Hawkeye is good, but to be honest, Haru was a better choice in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like if Hawkeye and Mustang have a really nice relationship there, couple goals right there. Find yourself a girl that is willing to assassinate someone with a sniper rifle for you. She's a strong, independent soldier who is very, very traumatized from the war.
Right, but she doesn't let that stop her from being a good person, and I admire that.
I just think we could have very nice conversations about life and everything. I don't know, she seems like a nice enough lady.
Okay, actually, real quick, I'm going to change my husbando answer because I got a real answer now. Captain Kiraku Shunsui from Bleach.
Yeah, let's go.
He seems so chill, such a nice guy. He really doesn't like to fight or anything, but when it comes down to it, he will do what he has to do. But he's just a really nice, sweet, chill dude.
Zay just be chugging that bleach down. You know who I would not pick to be husbando? Old Joseph, because motherfucker's gonna cheat on you first chance he gets.
Who's that one guy from School Days that is the main character who kept sleeping around? Whoever that guy is, I don't like him. He is the worst, to be honest.
So what's the worst anime you guys have seen?
Go ahead, somebody. I need time to think.
Oh, I know mine. Redo a Healer.
Okay, yep. I'm just gonna go with that one. Yeah, I only watched the first episode or two of that. I'm like, nope.
That is one of the only shows I've ever watched where I had to turn an episode off while it was going on. I could not stomach to
Was
through.
it episode 1 where he already started doing that shit to her? I went to the point where it's she woke up and it's oh, you're my wife now. And I'm just okay, no, no, I can't continue with this.